This is Kristen from Weird Reddit 111. I truly hope that you're enjoying these videos I produce on my channel. Sorry I've been gone for a bit. I had some family issues. So everyone's feedback is very valuable, and I appreciate every like, comment, share, and subscribe I get on my channel. It truly warms my heart. I ask that you please continue to show support, and if you're new here, please like, share, and subscribe. Also, please help the channel reach 1,000 subscribers. I hope you enjoy today's videos, and remember, don't forget to slap that notification button. Our first story comes from user Trudenter. I used to work at a place which required to be manned 24 hours a day. Reason being is that I handled sensitive documents files, and if somebody needed this information in the middle of the night, I would have to fetch it for them or confirm that I have it. Anyways, security is kind of tight, bars on windows, multiple locked doors to get to where I am. They would give me work to do during the night, but underestimated how quickly I could get it done. So like most nights, I finished my work in like 30 to 45 minutes and pulled out my phone and played games, Netflix, browse Reddit, since nobody else is in the building at night. So now it is getting to be the last third of my shift when all of the sudden I hear a door close. I look to the security camera and see someone walking down a hall towards my room. At first, I thought it was just somebody that came in ridiculously early, so I turn around and wait for them to come in. But nobody came in, and the hairs start rising on my back. Now, this isn't a really big building, so I figure I'll find the guy wherever he is and start checking offices and storage rooms, but come up empty-handed. However, I do see that a fire door had shut. I go to try and rewind the camera, but the digital recording is password protected and I don't know the password. Anyways, the whole thing freaked me out, the way the person was walking down the hallway like a determined walk right to where I was. So I sit with my spine tingling for the last couple hours of my shift, and finally people start coming in. My replacement shows up and I tell her what I saw, and at this point I figured I must have imagined the whole thing. I'm told to go home, and the manager and girl who replaced me would look over the camera. After getting home, I call my manager and ask what was on the camera. So they said that the video showed the fire door closing, but then the video froze for about an hour. The next thing it records is me reopening the door. The next story is from user Otterus Rex, titled "The Day the World Shifted." In the summer of 1993, when he was just 16, Otterus Rex embarked on an outward-bound adventure in the Three Sisters wilderness of the Oregon backcountry. Among the group of troubled teens he was with, he became close with a girl named Eva from Sweden and a guy named Steve, who, despite a severe foot injury, refused to drop out. On a break, the group found a beautiful crystal blue glacial pool with a 10-foot waterfall feeding into it. Encouraged by Eva, Otarusarex decided to dive into the pool from the top of the waterfall, but things didn't go as planned. He hit his head on one of the boulders and was pulled out of the water unconscious. When he came to, Steve was missing. And Eva was off chatting with another girl, showing no concern for him. The guides informed him that Steve hadn't been with the group for 4 days due to his foot infection. They also claimed that Eva was from Brazil, not Sweden. Confused, Otterus Rex couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. He was convinced that Steve was with them just a day ago, and that Eva was definitely from Sweden. Things only got stranger from there. When he returned from the trip, he found that his parents seemed different, and his world had shifted subtly. Computers were advanced, video games were more popular, And even his school experience felt alien. He felt like an outsider in a world that was almost, but not quite, the same as the one he left before the trip. Odorous Rex now believes that he might have slipped into a parallel universe that day, a theory supported by the fact that his memories before the incident are as clear as his memories of recent events. His world shifted that day, and he has been living in this slightly different reality ever since. What do you think of Odorous Rex's story? Could it be a case of a concussion causing memory distortions, or did he really slip into a parallel universe? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Our next story comes from user Russ DR, who shares his own strange experience that aligns eerily with Odorous Rex's story. About a decade ago, Russ DR was having a playful day in his father's pool, throwing a tennis ball up in the air. The ball, however, ended up landing on his brother's head, who was outside the pool. This angered his brother so much that he climbed onto the deck and drop-kicked Russ DR in retaliation. Russ DR blacked out and has no recollection of the actual hit, but he vividly remembers the look on his brother's face when the ball hit him. When he came to, his life proceeded as it always had. But something was different. The world seemed happier, the colors more vivid. He hadn't felt sad throughout this entire sequence, which he describes as lacking any standout moments, perhaps explaining why the memory is now somewhat fuzzy. However, two things he will never forget: the look on his brother's face as he pulled him out of the water on the brink of tears, screaming at him to stop messing around, and the feeling of utter disorientation. He felt like he had spent 2 days somewhere inside his own head, while his brother insisted he had been at the bottom of the pool for nearly 5 minutes. Ruster believes his experience was a hallucination. However, he can't help but draw a correlation with Odorous Rex's story. He describes life now as lacking color, feeling gray and industrial. But for a brief moment, he experienced something he hadn't before and hasn't since. Not even in a dream, he believes he might have glimpsed the same world Odorous Rex found himself in after his concussion. What do you think about Ruster's experience? Was it a hallucination, or could he have also slipped into a parallel universe? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Our next tale comes from a user named Lucky Cynic, who recounts an incident that occurred during his university years. Late one night, after running out of booze, Lucky Sitch and his friends decided to make a trip to the nearest 24-hour supermarket. As they walked through the rows of identical suburban houses, they came upon a field where a large campfire was ablaze. People were riding horses around the fire, playing musical instruments, and generally having a good time. The scene, illuminated by the fire and scattered lanterns, had a distinctly old-fashioned vibe. But the story takes a strange turn when, after walking for another 5 minutes, one of Lucky Cynic's friends commented on the oddity of the gathering they just witnessed. Upon deciding to go back and investigate, they were met with an inexplicable sight. The field, the fire, the people, the horses, all were gone. In their place stood more rows of suburban houses. Despite being certain they were on the right road, they could find no trace of the field or the gathering even after checking the neighboring roads. It's worth noting that while they had consumed some alcohol, they were far from drunk. To this day, Lucky Cynic can't explain what they saw that night. Was it a hallucination, a shared dream, or did they stumble upon a temporary rift into another universe? As always, we'd love to hear your theories in the comments below. Our next narrative comes from a user Keystone Palo Alto who shares a captivating account from his time working in the NASA Ames Research Center in Mountain View, California. Known for its long commute times, it was a usual day for Keystone Palo Alto, except for the fact that he woke up late for work. Already an hour and a half behind schedule, he found himself amidst the notorious Bay Area traffic. The journey was slow, and with every traffic update on the radio, the anxiety of being late for work kept creeping up on him. As he took the Logue Avenue exit, he heard a peculiar pop, almost like a sudden change in air pressure. What followed was an unusual tranquility. No traffic, not a single car in sight. The sky seemed darker, and an unexpected storm seemed imminent. Upon reaching the NASA gate, he was met with a guard who seemed oddly out of place, as if he was plucked straight out of the 1950s. The strangeness of the situation escalated when he parked his car in an empty lot. His car radio abruptly went silent, and an eerie sense of disorientation washed over him. The radio suddenly burst back into life, announcing the time as 6:29 a.m., but his watch indicated 8:29 a.m. The discrepancy was baffling. Had he lost time, or had he gained it? What caused the sudden shift? Was it a mere illusion or a glitch in the matrix? Could it be related to the projects NASA was working on? The story leaves us with more questions than answers, reminding us once again that reality can sometimes be stranger than fiction. As always, we'd love to hear your theories in the comments below. Our next chilling tale is shared by user PM Puppy Pics. Last fall, she embarked on a short vacation with friends while her husband stayed home with the kids. As the last one to book, her sleeping quarters were an air mattress in the entertainment room. The first night there, as she lay trying to sleep, she began to hear a cacophony of overlapping whispers. It was as if 100 people were speaking at once, their voices intermingling into a disturbing symphony. She compares the experience to an episode of Star Trek Cause and Effect, where characters are stuck in a time loop and hear conversations stacked on top of each other from previous loops. Terrified but rational, she convinced herself that the strange sounds were a product of her heightened state and malfunctioning speakers. This eerie incident was soon forgotten until a month later, when her husband, looking visibly upset, confided in her about his worries. He feared he was developing schizophrenia, as he had recently started hearing voices. On further probing, he described hearing an identical symphony of overlapping whispers, similar to what his wife had experienced. The bizarre twist: he had heard the voices while they were in different states, 300 miles apart. The uncanny similarity of their experiences, the timing, and the fact that they were so far apart makes this a truly unsettling account. Could it be a strange coincidence, a shared hallucination, or perhaps something more sinister? An inexplicable interference, or a glimpse into an unseen realm? We leave it to you, our viewers, to speculate, theorize, and share your thoughts in the comments. As we delve into our next story, we find ourselves in the vast, cold expanse of a warehouse. This tale comes from user AHCCB1024, who, like many others, works the graveyard shift. His usual crew includes a distinctive character named Ashley, a tall, average-built man known for his tattoos, piercings, and his peculiar habit of growing out his hair only to buzz it off every few months. One night, our narrator is stationed in the upstairs office when he sees Ashley sprinting down the hallway, clearly visible through the office window. The most striking thing is Ashley's freshly buzzed hair. A stark change from the day before, not to mention his outfit is entirely different. Our narrator shrugs it off, thinking nothing more of it. However, 3 hours later, he crosses paths with Ashley in the warehouse only to be met with an eerie sight. Ashley's hair is long again, exactly as it was the previous day, and his outfit is completely different from the one he was wearing earlier. The sight is so startling that our narrator is left speechless, struggling to respond to Ashley. He is certain that he wasn't dreaming or hallucinating when he saw Ashley earlier. The very next night, Ashley walks into the warehouse sporting a fresh buzz cut, wearing the same outfit our narrator saw him in the first time. The incident leaves our narrator questioning reality, struggling to find a plausible explanation for what he saw. Could this be a case of a doppelganger, a glitch in the Matrix, or perhaps something even more inexplicable? This may not be the most bizarre story you've heard, but it's a reminder that sometimes the most unnerving experiences are the ones that defy rational explanation. We invite you to theorize and share your thoughts in the comments. Our next story is a journey into the realm of dreams and premonitions. It's shared by user Estelice7, who has experienced dreams that are so vivid and real they seem to be snapshots of the future. As a child and even now, Estelice7 has these incredibly realistic dreams. They're short, mundane, but uniquely identifiable. One such dream from when she was 13 involved her sitting at a computer desk she didn't recognize, browsing a website that didn't exist in a house she'd never seen before. On waking, she made a sketch of the house layout and noted down the dream, as she does with all such dreams. Estelice7 claims that these dreams often come true. Fast forward a few years, and she finds herself moving into an apartment that matches the layout she once sketched. The website from her dream was created recently, and she finds herself an active member. Unknowingly, she even bought the same desk and computer from her dream. The realization hits when she lives the exact moment from her dream, prompting her to revisit her dream journal. But it's not just things. She's seen people in her dreams before meeting them in reality, like her aunt's second cat and one of her closest friends. However, the dreams never show anything of significance or relevance, just snippets of mundane moments that hold no value until they become reality. This story, though not as eerie as a doppelganger encounter, takes us to the intriguing world of dreams and their possible connection with reality. What do you think? Could these be mere coincidences, or is there a deeper, unexplored connection between dreams and reality? Share your thoughts in the comments. Our next story is from Shishi432234, who shares a peculiar and unsettling experience from their overnight job at a big box store. Their work involved resetting merchandise displays to make room for new products. One night during their shift, they experienced a bizarre loss of time. They had just returned from a break at 12:15 a.m. and started working on the 5th section of the display. After a few minutes of work, they glanced at their watch, expecting it to be around 12:30 a.m. To their shock, it was nearly 2 a.m. An hour and a half had inexplicably vanished. They hadn't heard the manager's call for everyone to gather the remaining carts in the parking lot, nor had they noticed any of their coworkers walking by. When they asked their coworkers about the cart call, they were told it had indeed happened, and no one had seen Shishi432234 outside. The missing time was a mystery. Several months later, it happened again. This time, Shishi432234 was working on the opposite side of the store. Once again, what felt like a few minutes to them was over an hour in reality. and this time no one had seen them in their work area during the missing time. Shishi 43234 is left wondering if they somehow slipped into another universe during these lost hours. This story, while not as dreamlike as STLC7, still touches on the inexplicable and the mysterious. What do you make of it? Could it be a simple lapse in memory, or is there something more uncanny at play? Share your thoughts in the comments. Our next story comes from User Needs More Tuba, who shares an uncanny experience from their school days. They and their best friend, both students in an English class of about 25, had an interesting encounter with a mysterious tiny door. One day, as they returned from their lunch break, they spotted a small door between their desks. Now, this wasn't a new school, and they were both certain that the door hadn't been there before lunch. The small door was a complete surprise to them, but not to their classmates or teacher, who all insisted that the door had always been there. They even had a class clown join in on their surprise, but he later confessed to just playing along. The door, they later speculated, could have been a remnant of an old coal chute from when the school was first built. But the question that haunts them isn't why the door exists, it's why they hadn't noticed it until after lunch. Even after 2 decades, the mystery of the tiny door persists. Whenever they spot a small door, they share a picture with each other captioned, "Where did that tiny door come from?" A simple question with no simple answer. What do you make of this story? Is it a case of a shared lapse in memory, or is there something more eerie at play? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Ha! And that brings us to the end of our journey through these mysterious Reddit tales. We have ventured through the dark corners of the night shift, experienced the world-shifting day, explored the vivid other side, and attended the phantom gathering. We puzzled over the enigma of lost time, listened to the overlapping whispers, and met a doppelganger in a warehouse. We've delved into the dreams of unseen reality, lost ourselves in the vanishing hours, and discovered the unseen doorway. And through it all, we've found that the world is full of mysteries waiting to be unraveled. And that sometimes the most ordinary things, like a tiny door between 2 desks, can become the most extraordinary puzzles. We encourage you to share your theories and experiences in the comments below. Is there a rational explanation behind these stories, or could there be more to these tales than meets the eye? Your guess is as good as ours. And if you've enjoyed this journey into the unknown, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We have many more mysteries to uncover together. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the unknown. Remember, the world is full of mysteries waiting to be uncovered. Until next time, this is Kristen from Weird Reddit 111 signing off.